Hello everyone, welcome. This is our fourth session on ethics, integrity and aptitude. I hope till now you have been able to understand things and the speed with which I am going is comfortable for you. Please let us know if there is any issue that you are facing regarding the content or speed or anything. Alright, we would be happy to resolve it for you. Alright, okay. So let's move forward with the lecture. First, let us see briefly what we discussed in our last lecture. We saw how to solve this question, wherein we linked leadership and ethics, and the focus was on decision making, not just in overall leadership. There was a particular topic, decision making, with which you had to link things. Okay. Then we saw how relationships or ethics develop in private and public relationships. Then we saw the relationship between private and public ethics. If they are in harmony, what it leads to. If they are in conflict, then what happens. We saw positive and negative sides of both harmony and conflict, right? We saw why conflict was important, so that society progresses. This is important, right? Even if you observe, then you will see that there are many people who go against the social norms, then only some things are changed. Like Rosa Parks is a good example. Rosa Parks, okay, in USA, she stood for the rights of equal rights for blacks. Okay. Then we saw the role of family, right, in inculcating values. Okay. We saw how values are inculcated. Basically, we saw in brief, saw the role of mother. Okay, then we saw the examples. If values are not inculcated or values are inculcated, then what happens? Okay, then we stopped at this topic and we are going to begin our session with this inculcation of values by family. Like, what are the different methods by showing values, then how you talk, then sharing personal experiences, then you hold the child accountable for their mistakes, you tell them how to improve, right? Then you describe encouragement, descriptive encouragement, then you encourage or you imbibe values in them by telling stories like Panchatantra, Jataka tales and so on. So before this session, we need to practice the question which I had given you in the last lecture. I hope you have written something about it, because it is very important that you start linking things with ethics. If you observe, this question also links ethics, okay, with one field which is politics. In earlier question, we linked it with leadership. So the way I've framed these questions for you is that so that you can understand how ethics affect our daily life. And if you learn how to link ethics to daily life, you will be able to create good answers. In case studies, you will be able to see, few cases which others might miss. So very important thing is practicality. Practical answers should be given, okay, not theoretical answers or ideal answers. Like, basic thing is, if there is a case study or there is a question on corruption, you don't have to say that yes, I will eradicate it completely. No, you can say that yes, there are some issues in it which might take time to clear, so that, but still I will take some steps which will lead to at least at least you can deal with the problem at hand. So in the long term, you can say that lot more efforts are needed, but in the short term, you can say that the efforts that I have written or efforts that I have proposed will be able to help, like this. Okay. All right. So let's start with the question. So the question is, politics without principle is a social sin. Elaborate with examples. Now I have told you that here one good thing is that you don't have the question is not asked to show your own example or share your own examples. So sometime if you have not thought about it, it is beneficial that you should attempt such questions faster, or you should be able to do these things faster. Okay, before starting the answer, let me just share this thing, that this was obviously taken from Gandhiji's 7 sins, 7 social sins, right? So, and a full question has been asked on those 7 principles. Okay, So this is one of the 7 principles. So in UPSC you need to remember this, that whenever a question comes on a big topic, something related to that can come. This is very prevalent in prelims examination and in main examination also. If they ask about, let's say, China India, okay, they might ask about China Bangladesh next year, okay. So basically this is neighborhood relations. So in this way you need to remember that if a topic has come before in UPSC exam and they have paid attention to it so as to ask a full question on it, you can prepare and you should prepare. And basically it is a building block for us also, right? As we go on towards the end of the course, as we study more and more, we will relate ethics to more things. So politics is something which everybody relates to, okay, so that is why I picked this question from there only. All right, so let's start with the intro, body and conclusion. Yes, we will follow intro, body and then conclusion. So let me briefly tell you the overall structure. In intro, it's what do you think? You should define politics, I guess. Anna, you will be thinking that let us define politics and simply start the answer. I would say that is a very basic path, and if you are not able to think anything in the exam, then you can do this. But I would advise you here that you can write about Mahatma Gandhi and say that this is one of the principles which was espoused, basically is a word, espoused by him, okay. So you can say that this is one of the 7 principles as told by, or you can write by Gandhiji. Then you will say that what principles, what type of principles, okay, we will discuss that. So first you will, in the introduction you can tell that it was given by Mahatma Gandhi, and then you will tell that what type of principles should be there, okay. Then in the body you can tell briefly that what happens if there is politics without principle, okay. You will tell what would be the result that if politics is done without principles. We'll discuss that, okay. Then we come to the main part of the question wherein you need to tell what happens. First of all, we'll tell what happens, then how it relates to, or how it becomes a social sin. Then in conclusion, we'll give a small way forward, okay, that what should be the aim going forward and like how can we resolve it. All right, so let's begin with the introduction now. So in the introduction, as I said, first you need to tell that Gandhiji placed these principles or told about these principles, okay. So he said that this is one of his principle, right? So he said that the principles, there are few principles which we'll talk about, were placed at the center of politics by Mahatma Gandhi, okay. Principles were placed at the center of politics by Mahatma Gandhi, okay. And principles like, then you can write in the next line, there are many principles which we'll discuss in upcoming lectures, so don't worry if you didn't know them, but I think few of them you would be knowing, which would be like honesty, okay, integrity, pardon me, there is a spelling mistake, integrity, okay. What else? In governance you have okay, so you can, if you didn't know the principles, you can still relate this with GS2 paper, okay. In there is the governance section, okay. Some principles can be brought from there. Accountability, okay, accountability, accountability, okay. Then what? Openness, RTI, related with RTI, right, or transparency you can write. So in 2 lines you can write this, okay. So you can say that principles were placed at the center of politics by Mahatma Gandhi. Principles like honesty, integrity, accountability, openness, transparency, probity, selflessness, attitude of service, okay. Such principles were placed at the center of politics by Mahatma Gandhi. Okay, this is how you can start and straight away tell the examiner that you have understood the question. Alright, so many principles will be discussed in detail in unit 6 and 7, don't worry about that, but these are some things which basically if you have read GS2, right, you will come to know about it. Okay, alright, so next part will be the body. Let's come to that. In the body, what you can do? Think. I just told you that you have to first tell that what is happening when politics is devoid of principles. It's without principles. What is happening? I have given you some facts, right? That Association of Democratic Reforms ADR report. What did they say? That in 2014 or let's say 2015, 34% criminal cases were against 34% elected representatives. In 2019, it increased to 43%. So this is happening. Then I've also told about crony capitalism, right? Basically, you can also write it in another way as let's say corporatization of politics. All right. So I've discussed these, right? If you remember. Then we have also discussed about intra-party democracy. If there are no principles followed, like we expect those parties to be democratic when they come into power, but they are not being democratic inside themselves. So this is sort of, let's say, hypocrisy, right? So they are not following basically principles. Then what happens? I've talked about horse trading, like it happened in Karnataka. Okay, nobody is electing or selecting people in their team based on principles. Not electing, but people are not selecting other people based on principles, but based on number of supporters, right? So this is what connecting with principles, right? Horse trading, basically based on money, people are shifting ideologies. So nobody has any principles. Then in the end, you can say that Law Commission said that political parties have become authoritative in nature. Like we discussed about high command, you can relate this with the intra-party democracy. That high command culture is there. So this is bad also for democracy, right? All right. So we have tackled the first part of the body. Now see, here you can use diagram. Okay, here you can use diagram. Just create a diagram like this, like what effect of or absence of principles in politics leads to this, or this, whatever way you are comfortable. You can use this way of diagrammatic representation, because as I've told you before, it will take less space, less words and more space. So it fills your sheet. All right. So, and I know that you will not obviously remember all of these things. So whatever you remember, you quickly jot down in a point format. And main point is how it leads to social sin. Although sin is a bit of a religious term, but here we can understand it as a negative thing. So how does it lead to a negative state of affairs in society? Okay, first point which I'm going to tell you, we have already discussed it, seen it, like, but yeah, remember why is not asked. You might be thinking why I'm not discussing the reasons behind it, because they are not directly asked. Please remember that. Okay, we have to link the politics without principle to a social sin. All right. So let's start with that point. So Vohra committee said, I've told you that political corruption, this is very important. Political corruption is the fountainhead of corruption in India. Okay, so basically it meant that all other corruption is flowing from that, right? So basically, okay, this is sort of a lava drawing. So fountainhead, okay, so yes, right. So it is spreading everywhere due to the corruption that is in politics, and you know that politics is ingrained in our lives. Every step, right, any legal step, anything, it is related to politics. Our life is very connected with politics, hence principle in politics is extremely important. Okay, so okay, this is the first point. This is how it leads to social sin, because it is ruining what? It is ruining social fabric of our nation. Okay, people do not expect any work to be done in government office without some form of bribe. What is this? Bad social fabric, right? Sorry, people are not trusting each other. We'll discuss about this. So first of all, you can start with this line, which is very famous, and you can use it as a supporting argument. Next, you can say that leaders, since they are society's representatives, okay, and if they are corrupt, what would happen? Basically, it is a two-way relation. So we are electing corrupt people. What will they do? They will obviously support corruption, right? So if society is not electing society is not electing people with principles, what will happen? It will lead to corruption, and that will lead to social sin. Because what will they do? They'll themselves become corrupt, right? So if we don't elect people, if we don't elect leaders without principles, if we don't elect leaders with principles, it will obviously lead to a social sin, right? And another thing happens, even if some honest person is elected, sometimes they are not able to sustain their honesty. Why? Because the society itself might be corrupt, or the other people might be corrupt. So basically, the society itself is responsible. Okay, this might be a little different point, but this is how it works in real life. So if we elect, because I am talking about leadership, because political leaders, right, they are the functionaries. We live in a representative democracy, so leaders are very important. Okay, so if we elect good leaders, that will lead to basically good society, good social fabric, strong social fabric, like I talked about here. So you can connect it with this. Another point which we can talk about is, since there is criminalization of politics, which we talked about in this ADR report. Okay, criminalization of politics leads to what? If law breakers become law makers, then what happens? Rule of law falls, right? Rule of law falls, then what happens? People will not trust the police, right? So people will trust that yes, this leader is able to basically Jungle Raj. If you understand Jungle Raj, the might is right. So what would happen for the people who are just normal people, like common people, Aam Aadmi? They will feel very dejected. They will not be able to live properly or exploit their full potential, and not able to contribute to the wellness or goodness of or progress of society. So basically, if lawbreakers become lawmakers, they will not lead by law, they will lead by might. Okay, so this is how society degrades. All right. Another thing, next point can be anything. I've talked about accountability, right? So basically here also public trust falls. There was a value which I talked about in the introduction, which was accountability. So in accountability, if there are no principles followed, obviously accountability will fall, because accountability is one of the principle. So what happens? People will not get the service they deserve. Quality of service will fall. Administrative competency will fall. Okay, this is a key word. Please remember this. Okay, public trust is also a key word. Okay, then social fabric is also a key word. So quality of services fall, right? So what will happen? We are studying ethics, right? And I've told this term to you. Ethical governance will not come into picture. Simple as that. All right. So if accountability falls, quality of service falls, then ethical governance will not come into picture, not even good governance. All right. Lastly, just a second. Okay, so let's go on to the next slide because this is full. So lastly, if the politics is without principle, then what you have seen? Discrimination, sorry. Discrimination will be there, right? Many isms will be there. Isms like casteism, okay, communalism, casteism, communalism. These things will come into picture if there is discrimination, if there are no principles of equality, right? If there is no service orientation, people will favor only their own caste or their own community. So what will that lead to? This will lead to decrease in social capital. We have talked about this in our lecture, social capital. Okay, this will ruin social relations between people, right? Between one community and another, between one caste and another, right? So this will lead to decrease in fraternity, and fraternity is so important that even our preamble mentions it. Okay, so this is how you relate with GS2 knowledge. Okay, so this happens, social capital will get ruined. Another thing which happens is, if there is self-interest, too much self-interest, and nation's interest is not seen, what will happen then? If we focus on too much self-interest or regional interest, then we won't focus on national interest. Where is that applicable? In regionalism. This is society GS1 topic. Okay, so see, now I'm telling you topics from other papers. So I told you about the ethical prism. Okay, then yahan se there is wisdom being created. You have to remember this. You have to write this in the exam. That is what I'm right now telling you. So my job was to teach you ethical prism. So in that, what we had? GS papers, current events. Okay, then what? Media. So in wisdom, we need to focus on anything that is coming out of here, okay, and apply to our ethical principles. So if we have self-interest, regionalism might increase, and which we are already seeing. Left-wing extremism is there. Okay, demand for smaller states is there. Some places, okay, own state. So this will lead to secessionist tendencies, right? If this leads to, or basically, now see, once this happens, people will feel, okay, so people will feel what? Alienated. If there is too much focus on regional interest and not on national interest, and those, then see what happens is, sometimes it will get the request or the demand will be met, or sometimes it will not be met, as simple as that. So if it is not met, okay, and always the demand is not justified, so if the demand is not justified, they would be feeling alienated. Let's take example of JNK and left-wing extremism. If they feel alienated, what that leads to? Marginalization. And then marginalization. Oh. Okay, coming back to the slide. Alienated, if people feel alienated, they feel marginalized. Okay, they will become marginalized. Then radical forces will try to radicalize them. Okay, then if some of them get radicalized, it leads to violence. So right now, see how I related GS4 to GS1 to GS3 again. Not again, GS4 to GS1 to GS3, because this is something from internal security, this is something from GS1. So this is how you relate with subjects, other subjects, and you will also get this once I teach you, then you start thinking on your own. So this will lead to a connection between your own mind. All right. So here the body parts is finished. Okay, and we have given ample examples also, right? So what you do is, just to summarize, okay, so first last part is remaining, which is conclusion. after that we'll see the summary. Okay, so in conclusion, what do you write? You have proved this, okay, with examples. So in conclusion, we shall be writing something futuristic, something like to preserve the vibrant democracy in India. Gandhiji rightly linked politics with principle for social progress. Okay, so you can write something like this. Okay, another way of writing is, so we have seen that politics without principle is surely detrimental to society. Okay, and we need to involve more youth in the, okay, so this is the okay, this is one statement, this is another first statement. Another statement after this you can write, this you have to include, you can write any one of these. Okay, after that you can, just like a way forward, you can write the electoral reforms need to be introduced. Okay, now you don't have to write the committee's name, we all know that committee. Okay, you don't have to write the committee's name. What you have to focus is on the values. Focus should be on values. So electoral reforms should be brought in so that more youth are motivated to get involved. Okay, because the system would definitely become more clean after the reforms. All right, then we need to tell that we need to add value education. Okay, and we need stricter laws. Last में, in the last you can write we need more laws or stricter implementation of law, because this is not a GS2 answer, so you cannot focus on this too much. You have to focus on this, right? Why it should be brought, like what value will it bring, and value education. Okay, so that in 1 or 2 generations we have some leaders who are actually considerate and what the society actually needs. See, because like I told you, leaders are just a reflection of society. So if the society has value education, they are focusing more on democracy, more on progress, more on development rather than caste, communalism. Okay, so if the society itself is focusing on these values, then the leaders will also focus on that value, right? So that is how it is played. Okay, so in the end we have seen introduction, that there are other ways of beginning the introduction rather than a simple definition. Then in body we first proved, or just draw a short diagram where you prove that politics without principle leads to what. Then you tell how it leads to social sin, basically how it ruins the society. Okay, then in conclusion you give 1 or 2 solutions and tell that yes, we do need politics filled of principles so that it leads to social progress, which is the ultimate goal of any political dispensation. Okay, all right, I hope this was helpful. All right, anything that you like, anything that you learn from this, please write in your own notebook. Okay, write the examples that I've discussed, write down the structure that I've discussed. Okay, it was pretty simple, but see, even in that we have broken it down in proper introduction, conclusion, body, introduction, body and conclusion. Okay, so questions are simple only, they will come from your own notes, but in the exam you need to learn how to structure the answer. So we'll teach you that, and I hope this session was helpful to you. All right, okay, let's move forward. These are the diagrams from the last topic. All right, I hope it helps you. Okay, so this is how you can make notes from the lectures we are conducting for you. Okay, all right. Okay, in this lecture, this will be our last session on Unit 1. Okay, in this we will be continuing with the socialization factors, okay, which we started in the last lecture. Okay, we will be starting with family. Okay, then we'll see how it helps in inculcating values. Then we'll move on to school, education institute basically, or then okay, so these are the things: family, school and other education institutions and society. So we'll see this. Alright, after that we'll see how the nature of family is changing. Okay, we have seen it like it is changing from joint family to nuclear family, then there are single parents and so on. Right, then we'll see about value education, what it is, what it means, okay, what it includes. Then we shall see the crisis that is going on in our society about the values, okay. Then we'll go for the last topic of the day, dimension of ethics, and also the last topic of this unit 1. Okay, all right, let's move ahead. Okay, coming down to the first topic and continuing it from the last lecture, role of socializing factors. Okay, which are the factors that leads to socialization of a child. Okay, that basically teaches them about the society and how to live in. Okay, this is how value inculcation happens. Okay, so we left our topic on this, we left our lecture on this topic. Okay, we'll be reading about this in detail now. This topic is about family. Okay, how family inculcates values. Okay, modeling values. First thing is, this whole topic is captured beautifully by this diagram, wherein a child is following in the footstep of the parents. Okay, so basically children follow the footstep that you leave for them. Okay, so please leave love, integrity, compassion and self-worth. Teach them this. Okay, we'll see that right now with examples. See, what happens is, let's just start with examples straight away, right? Honesty, I've talked about this, that my parent returned more money which was given to them by the shopkeeper. So what happens is, I saw this in action. It was not that they teach me this every morning after waking up. Hey son, this is the first value you need to learn today. No. The point is that was actually shown in action. So children do this. Even there is a famous quote by Confucius. Okay, he said that students, basically children, learn more by the action of parents rather than just preaching. So you have to practice what you preach so that your kids will learn that. Alright, so this is how honesty can be inculcated. Another example we can see that about treatment of women in the family by grandfather or your father. Alright, so basically we can say that if we can take two examples. Okay, treating with dignity, treating without dignity. Lot of real life examples happen, like when you go for shopping. If the father is controlling everything, every decision, then what would the child learn? That the woman or the mother is not capable, and they don't understand this in words, they understand it in behavior. They see the feelings behind it. Okay, the child sees that the father is not treating her with dignity and respect, so this is okay. That is how they learn. All right, another example can be, if let's say they are going for a drive and the mother knows how to drive quite well, but the father is like, no, I will drive, you're not, you are a lady. Okay, something like this. Okay, although they will not realize the value of the word spoken, but the child will remember this, and if later on in life the child will also do that with his own wife. Okay, that the effect can be two over here. For the male child, he will treat his wife like that. For the female child, and for the female child, an attitude will develop that she needs to follow the lead of male in the family. Okay, so this is one thing. Then there is another example regarding cooking food and sharing in household responsibilities. We all know about this, right? So such things you can write via example, you can explain in the exam also. Here I would like to link again with another sociology concept, which is paper 1 concept, wherein we have seen in many urban areas educated women are staying home. Okay, they think that if the husband is earning, they don't need to earn, they will just basically survive or thrive on the support of the husband. Okay, but they basically, what it is leading to is basically a bad footsteps, bad footsteps, or it is actually disempowerment of women, subtle disempowerment of women. Okay, what does this mean? Simple. Connect it with here. What will the female child feel? What would the male child feel? All right. So even though the person is the female is quite educated, quite smart, okay, from urban family, but still she is doing that. So what will happen? Their child will start behaving in the same way, right? Oh, your mother goes to office, mine doesn't. Something like this, okay? Oh, your mother needs to earn to support the family, something like this, okay? Some form of discrimination will creep up in the child, okay? So basically disempowerment leads to them females becoming more dependent for everything, for every decision, for every spending decision, for every, let's say, even for birthday parties and all that, everything they become dependent on the permission of the male. Okay, now the other side of the things are, if we treat them with dignity, right? If we treat everyone dignity, this is the example of treatment of women. So if we even treat poor with dignity, like they come and ask money on the signal, rather than rebuking them or talking with them in a bad language, you can just simply say no if you don't want to give, or you can give 2 rupees. It doesn't really matter, right? So this is how you treat, if you treat them with dignity, let's say, okay, if the husband treats the wife with dignity, with equality, the children will also learn the same thing. Like if the husband after coming from office contributes a little bit to the household work, okay, and if the wife is also working, so they both contribute, so what do the children see? They see that it is okay for the male partner to contribute to the household work. All right. So we come to the next part, which is art of conversation or interaction. Now you will be thinking between whom? Okay, so the first thing can be from the parent to the child. Okay, from parents to the child. If they speak or talk or behave with the child in an authoritarian manner, what will happen? The child will become basically subordinate sort of thing. Okay, they will not be a child, they will sort of a junior to them, and this can be seen in many basically military families. Okay, I'm not speaking against them, I'm myself from a defense background, but point is, I've seen this in my own life, that the person behaves differently in front of the parents and differently between the friends. Although this is there in every family, but in military family this becomes a bit heightened. All right, but in many non-military families also, the father or the mother, and especially father, has a very authoritarian way of talking, that they talk with children only when needed, and there is less emotional connect with the children. Okay, this is generalization, I'm not saying this happens in every family, but I'm giving you an example which I've also faced myself. Okay, so this happens when you face authority from parents. So what happens? Your own behavior becomes that way, and you will start behaving that way with your own children later on. Okay, but some people go opposite way also. They say that no, my father or mother behaved this with me in this way, I will not behave the same way with my children. So that also happens. Okay, so this is how interaction goes, and this is how value is given from parent to a child. Now if the behavior towards the child is democratic, okay, so negative impact of this is the decision making power falls. Okay, the person will not develop confidence, they will always be looking for commandments, they will be always be looking for some instruction. But if you have a democratic way of behaving, wherein you let the child speak, okay, obviously you will guide them, I'm not saying you give them the whole decision making power, you will guide them, you will talk to them, but in a way that you guide them to a decision rather than forcing a decision on them. Like here it might be that no, you have to learn swimming. If the person doesn't want to learn swimming, not interested in swimming at all, but still due to strict instruction from the father or the mother, they have to. Okay, but here in the democratic way, if you talk to the person, okay, you let them think for their own, you let them basically find solutions on their own. You guide them, you talk to them, but you make them decide, okay, rather than forcing your decision on them. Obviously, till some age you have to decide for them, but after that the value of thinking will develop, and if you do this from a very young age to the child, they will develop a more heightened awareness, okay, and ultimately decision making will improve. They will be better settled in the society, okay. They will themselves become democratic leaders, okay, rather than authoritarian leaders, okay. Authoritarian you can understand by this my way or the highway sort of attitude, okay. So interaction from parent to the child in two ways. Now what happens in siblings? This is child to child interaction, okay. In this, if the siblings are there, if they are present in the family, then a child develops a sense of camaraderie, a sense of brotherhood, okay, a sense of sharing, a sense of sacrifice, okay. Like if your sibling, okay, let's just forget genders for a while. If you have a sibling, then if they are sick, then you tend to take care for them, okay. Your parents will teach that this is your brother or sister, you need to take care of them when they are not doing well. Then you learn to share, even though that might be very reluctantly. Let's say there are chocolates that have come to your house, right? Your parents bought them, so but there are basically you like chocolates a lot and your sibling also like chocolates a lot, so there might be a little fight also, but in the end you learn about sharing, that you have to share things, okay. Sacrificing, okay. Let's say there is birthday of your sibling, all right, so you save for them, you don't spend your pocket money fully, okay, you save it, so you learn to sacrifice your own basically needs or wants for somebody else. So these values develop, right, if the child to child interaction is there. But I have seen this in many children, pardon me, single child, okay. Sometimes they have difficulty adjusting whenever they are in, when they start living in hostels and all, they have difficulty adjusting with people because they have all their life lived alone. It's not their fault, I'm just saying that's how their childhood has developed. So they are not used to, they learn, obviously they learn, but they are not used to. So hostel is suddenly a new environment for them because there everything is open almost, right? Things are shared, okay. Attention is shared, clothes are even shared sometimes, okay. Bathroom is shared, rooms are shared, so such stuff like this, okay. So if okay, two more things, like co-ed schools, okay, wherein males and females both are included. So this is also good for confidence development of a child. They learn to talk to the other gender, okay. So this develops a confidence wherein they become a valuable member of society when they grow up, okay. People sometimes say that brother sister combo is the best because they learn each other, they learn how to behave with the opposite gender, okay. They learn from each other how to behave with a boy and how a boy should behave with a girl, okay. Whenever a boy is eve teasing on a street, usually girls reply with what? तेरे घर में माँ बहन नहीं है क्या? Don't you have brother, sorry, don't you have sister or mother at your home? So why? Because that is understood that if you have a sister at your home, then you will understand that how eve teasing affects the other woman, right? So this is how interaction between siblings gives value to a child, all right. All right, let's come on to the next part, sharing personal experiences, okay. So experience from whom? Parents, okay. We are talking about family, right? Parents, grandparents, okay, other relatives, okay. So experience from them acts as a reservoir of values. Basically what they have experienced and what they have achieved after doing work, they have understood the values, right? Some values like hard work, patience, sacrifice, understanding, smartness, and so on. Okay, so how this helps? What is experience? Experience is something which you have lived through. All right. So when parents, this is, I think this you will relate to, when parents tell us that they used to travel so long for studying, because at that time, like 20-30 years ago, transport was not so prevalent. Okay, and schools were far away, right? So they tell us this. Why? Because although they are not telling us explicitly that you need to travel 20 kilometers today, no, they say that they have done the hard work, right, for things that are easily available to us. So we should appreciate them more. Okay, also this also tells us the value of hard work. All right, and this makes us appreciate our parents also, that they have done so much for us. Okay, so this creates a respect. All right, another thing can be, can you think any other thing? Okay, let me tell you my own personal examples. Will let me exemplify by giving personal examples. Like my father did his MA degree by traveling a lot. Okay, he had to travel like 7 to 8 kilometers. Okay, one side. Okay, for doing his MA, he wanted to do it because he was totally interested in doing the MCA. Okay, so that is something personal, but he sacrificed that. He put in hard work. He did sacrifice to do that. Okay, so see, these things are not explicit. This is the difference between story and experience. In story, we always ask, okay, what is the moral of the story? But in personal experiences, we don't always ask that, because the values are implicit. We understand them later when we face it on our own. Okay, another thing which can be told is like, I come from a defense family, so we traveled a lot. We had to shift sometimes in 2 years, sometimes in 3 years, sometimes in 5 years. Okay, so and many times our father lived away from us, okay, for quite a bit of time. So this told us what? This taught us patience, adaptability. Okay, we saw our parents how they used to adapt, how my mother adapted, okay, when father was away. Okay, she had to take more responsibilities. She's also a working woman, so she had more responsibilities. Okay, so handling responsibilities and not complaining about it, making sure that we are loved as equally as when father is there. So such things we learn, and not explicitly. These are not taught, these are told to us, and we need to learn them ourselves. Okay, so this is how experience of somebody is a reservoir of values. All right, okay, I hope you understood this. So yeah, personal experiences, please note that you have to write some examples. Okay, and it's better that if you write it from your life, then your content will be differentiated and the examiner will appreciate it more. I have told you a lot of times. Okay, all right, let's move forward. Holding child accountable for their mistake. Okay, this I think you clearly understand, and if you talk to the child in the young age, and even in some adult age, you might have to hold them accountable for what they are doing. So what happens if the person is not held accountable when they are young? They will develop an attitude which will lead them to act without basically feeling responsible for anything, that it is not their mistake. Okay, best example is Duryodhana. Okay, so basically he did something when he was young to Pandavas. Okay, and there was no accountability. Okay, so he was emboldened that, oh yes, I can do this, I can get away with it. So this is how criminals develop. Okay, so I agree that hitting is wrong, but still you can teach them accountability. You can this is one of the values, right, in the answer we saw today. So accountability is extremely important, so that person realizes that there are consequences to actions. Okay, so they basically, that is why suspension thing is there in schools. Okay, so you need to hold the child accountable for their mistakes so that they understand the consequences and they learn accountability, and they can teach others also. Okay, all right, descriptive engagement. Okay, basically this is a term which we use a lot. Okay, to teach a child, if they have done something good, we tell them good boy or good girl. If they have not done a good thing, we tell them bad boy, bad girl, right? When we basically take children to parties and all that, over there, if the child behaves in a nuisance way, okay, or does some nuisance, or is not basically polite to guests or polite to other people, we say bad boy, okay, or a bad girl. All right. So this is how you teach. Basically, what happens is you relate appreciation to some action, okay, and scolding or pay punishment to some action. So the child learns that if the child is getting this after doing this, they will do this more, and if they are getting this after doing this, they'll do it less. Okay, this we can understand in another way. The people who have pets in their houses, they basically best example is a dog. You give treats to a dog. If that person will, oh sorry, if that dog is, oh sorry, best thing is when you train a dog for potty training. Okay, you give them treats if they defecate in the proper space. Similarly, same thing is done to young children. Okay, they are taught and they are appreciated if they do it right. All right, if they listen to parents, they are said that okay, yeah, you behaved very well today and all that. All right, so this is positive enforcement. Okay, so this is a technical term. If you don't remember, you can just remember good boy or good girl scenario. Okay. Okay, let's come to the next point, telling of stories. Okay, this is a good point which I have already discussed. When we share personal experiences, there is moral is not always involved, but when we tell stories, morals are always involved. Okay, examples can be taken from Jataka tales, okay, Panchtantra, then stories from Mahabharata, Ramayana, okay, Bible, okay, and so on. So all these things are stories which have a moral conclusion to them, which they are intended to teach some values to the young ones and even the adults, not just the young ones, adults also. So basically, let me share two examples. Like there is a quotation like "Pran jai par vachan na jai." Okay, this is something which is followed by many people. Okay, and this was also followed by Ram. Okay, then another thing which can be like duty. Okay, Mahabharat, you can relate with Krishna and Arjun. Basically, Arjun faced a moral dilemma, what to do. So Krishna told him that you have to follow the duty of being a Kshatriya. Okay, so that is Dharma. So here we can relate to another thing, that how ethics help in resolving the dilemma. Okay, so stories lead to some moral conclusion and they help us understand that if we are faced with some dilemma, what should we do. Okay, then there is another thing, Amar Chitra Katha. If some people know about this, it's a famous magazine which had a lot of stories from different basically mythologies and all, Purans and all, everything. Okay, so they told the stories and we could draw moral conclusions from them. Okay, so this is about telling stories. All right, so we have seen all the 6 parts. All right, now we are coming to the changing nature of families. So first we would like to we should see that focus of the family is becoming more on competition, okay, rather than cooperation. That means people are telling their students, families, parents are telling their children that do not focus on sharing things. Okay, focus more on competition. Sorry for the low volume. So families are telling their children to not focus on cooperation. Okay, helping each other out. They are more focusing on saving or protecting or promoting their own children's interest. Although that is fair to some extent, but cooperation will take society forward. Competition will take individual forward. Healthy competition is needed. Again, I know you will be thinking that some competition is needed. Yes, healthy competition is required for progress. That is obviously true. But you see na, that this blind competition is taking us nowhere. Okay, why so much classes are mushrooming? Because of this only, blind competition. Okay, people are not focusing on any other, let's say, fields. Okay, everybody wants to be the next engineer and doctor. Okay, why is this happening? Because although this is more related to society, and we will see that also, that societies also affect our opinion. Okay, so they affect our parents' opinion, and that affects our behavior and our values. Okay, so focus is also becoming more and more on individualism. Like we can see a lot of relationships that break up because of focus on me. Like person focuses on my comfort, my priorities, my values. Okay, and if they don't match with the other person, they are like, okay, no, we are not gonna work out. Okay, this is also leading to increase in failed marriages. Right, why? Because value of compromise, sacrifice, understanding, patience, these are all sometimes not inculcated in the person, so they fail to compromise or sacrifice. They see that what is the purpose of this, I will just try to create a relationship with somebody else. Okay, something like this. Okay, so individualism is increasing rather than collectivism. Okay, consumerism rather than sacrifice. How we can relate with this? Materialism. People just want to buy more and more. People are being taught that yes, materialism is success. Families, basically families are teaching that success is more related to materialism, how many flats you have, how many cars you have. Okay, so such things are basically an outward things. That means that the person is basically hungry from the inside, and how it shows? By materialism. Greedy in the inside, materialism on the outside. Okay, this is why UPSC asked this also in its question, that life or idea of good is very narrow. Why? Because people are thinking that good is only material success, not the spiritual success. Okay, this we can relate to, let's say, some of the relatives also. If you have some relatives who are some are rich, some are poor, who will be respected more or heard more? You know, right? The people who are rich, even though the person who is not rich might be equally what? Equally good. All right, so sometimes these are all behaviors. I am telling you, these are all behaviors. And how are they coming? They are coming because the family is behaving that way, and if the family behaves that way, the child behaves that way. All right, you get my point? Okay, so materialism is being equated with success. Okay, also rich relatives are loved more. Okay, so these are all behavior, this is all observation from real life. When we observe like this, we tend to analyze, and then we analyze what are the values behind those behavior. Because if you have obviously we have covered that diagram, beliefs into values into attitudes into, remember this, behavior. So how values imbibed turn into behavior, that is why I taught this in the introduction lecture. Okay, so family also decides from where the child learns values. Okay, like the controlling the time the child spends on laptop or on mobile. Okay, choosing which school the child goes to, right? Parents also influence the friends. But issue is coming that the families are now more involved, or parents are more involved in their own careers. Okay, everybody is career oriented nowadays. Okay, they want more and more, because connecting to this, material success is the real success. And there is also inflation and societal pressure. It's not just the value of the person, but society also affects the behavior. All right, so the family decides how the child learns from other places. Okay, so media, cinema, like stories of Panchatantra are being replaced by Pokemon. Okay, that is, if the grandparents are not there, if the family is a nuclear one and grandparents are not there, so if and the parents are going to offices and they have, let's say, 9 to 10 hour shifts, matlab, they go in the morning at 9 a.m, they return at, like, say, 7 to 8 p.m, right? So in the meantime the child stays where? The child stays in the school or then in crèches. Okay, so these are all what is happening. Family's nature is changing due to competition, due to materialism, due to societal pressure, due to career orientation. Okay, society is changing, family is changing. So what happens to the value inculcation in the child? This is how it is affected. Okay, all right. If we come to the next part, yeah, see, nuclear family is creating new socializing agents like what? Crèches, crash, I might be pronouncing it wrong, crashes also. Okay, then what? Maids. This is a phenomena with a lot of rich families, that the children are closer to maids, full-time maids, rather than parents. Okay, so due to the issue of nuclear family, earlier, like I just said, that grandparents used to take care of the children if the parents worked outside. Okay, if the grandparents were living with them. But with nuclear family, largely grandparents are not living anymore. Okay, so there is a full-time maid, or the children are kept in creches, or basically new socialization agents are created, right? Like I just said, Panchtantra is replaced by Pokemon. Okay, sorry, this is okay. So parents are being now replaced by what? Due to technology, so much penetration of technology, they are being replaced by mobile. Okay, there are many games, PUBG, okay, TikTok, then YouTube videos. Okay, people used to play video games. Now it is, children are more interested in movies. Okay, due to social media, they are more interested in challenges like what? Blue whale challenges, such a stupid thing. Okay, so such things are happening when nature of family is changing. Okay, nature is changing, it leads to change in value inculcation process, it changes into society, the change goes into the society, and when society changes, it affects again this thing. Okay, so I hope you understand this point. All right, and you might have seen this also in your life or in your friends life, or young people who have married, they are living away from their families, and also these are the issues which are faced by almost every urban family now. Okay, all right, let's move forward. Here I have just given you a diagram which you can memorize or not, that is up to you. Okay, this is to increase your understanding, okay, how things are changing. Okay, nuclear family, mother, father, children living together as a family unit. Okay, single parent family, you can guess it, where only one parent is there, either mother or father. Extended families. Okay, these are basically joint families. This is quite a bit, prevalent in our country. Okay, reconstituted family, basically where two sets of children become one family when their divorced parents marry each other. Okay, so a father has divorced. Okay, their first marriage has been dissolved. Okay, and when a person, let's say a male person and a female person with children, marry again, okay, with each other, okay, with the new person, with a new partner, then they become reconstituted. Okay, cohabitating parents are those basically wherein they haven't married yet, but still they are bringing up the children. Okay, so this is type of different phases or different basically types of the family which are coming up due to the changing nature. So you can understand how it will affect, or now you can, I think, better relate how it will change the value system of the student, of the children. Also, this happens a lot, that when a parent is basically, absence and presence both is bad sometimes. Like absence of a good parent is bad, right? Presence of a bad parent is bad. Okay, So absence of a good parent is bad, presence of a bad parent is also bad. Okay, so things change like this. Okay, so these are just extra points that I'm telling you so that you can understand it better. Now we come to, okay, so we have seen the role of family in detail. Okay, starting from the role of mother, we'll recap it in the end of the session. So I hope you understand the value that a family brings in inculcating values. All right. Okay, so let's move forward to the role of educational institutions like school, colleges, and how society adds value to value education and other topics. So first we'll see value education, okay, what it is and what is going on with it right now. Okay, we'll see how they promote constitutional morality, how they teach the young ones how to respect constitution, why. Then we need to see how punishment and reward system should be created to inculcate values. Then how to embrace diversity and why. Okay. So what is first of all value education? We need to know, this is actually, you must have seen that in many GS answers people are writing this. Okay. So basically value education is teaching the young ones what are values and how do they affect their world. As simple as that. In very simple language, value education is about creating awareness in the children, okay, or young people's mind, and awareness about how the values they have affect the world they live in. That's it. Okay, and if you want to read it in detail, it's here that educational institutions as primary channel of value education aims to encourage young people awareness of having values and their relationships, corresponding relationships to the world in which they live. Okay. So this is a very famous quote by C.S. Lewis. Okay, that education without values, as useful as it is, seems rather to make a man more cleverer devil. It is so important that it was asked in 2015's essay paper of UPSC examination. Okay, so value education is so important. So education without values, basically what it means that people will become intelligent. Okay, people will become intelligent, but they will not become person who add value to the world. Okay, basically you can relate with this as person has knowledge, okay, right, but still they are far beyond from a good person, being a good person. So that's the difference. What is the difference? Values. Okay, that is why I have whenever we have taken the answer writing sessions till now, we have taken value of ethics in life, because ethics is a value. Okay, so now you can, I think, appreciate it more, right? Why values are so important. So basically it makes a person intelligent but doesn't make a good person if the values are not there. Okay, so okay, we can take an example like very smart people. You might have known that Osama bin Laden was quite intelligent. Okay, then Rajat Gupta, he did insider trading, very smart person, very successful. Okay, then Ramalingam Raju, let's say. Okay, so there are many people who are highly accomplished but they don't have values. What more can we include here? Environmental values are not there in many companies. They dump their waste without processing it properly. Why? Just to save money. Yes, so such things are there. Okay, and these things are what will make our society change for the better if the values, good values, are inculcated in the person from the, let's say, younger years. All right. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, here I would like to tell you that value education is important for the society overall. Okay, what we need to add in the child's value system and what we need to remove will definitely, you never know, right, how the child will progress. If they become some good leader, okay, they are leading a company. If they don't lead the company ethically, what will that company do? It will straight away have an impact on the employees, on the environment, on the clients they deal with, right? So if the company has a value of honesty, compassion, they will treat their employees and clients nicely. If they have environmental values, okay, they will try to save the environment also. They will release wastes only after treating them, okay, no matter the cost, okay. Such things are there. So this is how you can relate it in real life. So if you want to write the definition, you can write the definition which I have given. Okay, now I am going to share how it affects the society. Okay, so basically value education, if you give good values like critical thinking, that don't believe anyone blindly. Okay, even Swami Vivekananda said that if you want, okay, Swami Vivekananda said that even if I tell you something, please don't believe it blindly, use your common sense. Okay, so that tells you to develop critical thinking. Basically think for yourself, that is the main point. Okay, so if you tell the child to think for himself or herself, if you tell the child to become independent and not be dependent on anybody, like the wife we discussed, right, that the wife, even if after basically being so literate and all, in urban areas especially, see, sometimes it's not the fault of the wife only, sometimes she is forced to not work, okay, and to sit home. So that is why by education become financially independent, have a job so that she can make her own decisions. And how do you teach that? You teach her the value of education, you teach her the importance of being independent, and so on. Okay, all right. So what are the values that can lead to all this? What are the values that we need? Basically you can say tolerance, okay, you can say fraternity, okay, and what else? Can you remember the preamble? Equality, okay. What more? For a team player to be a good part of the society, okay. Then what else? Anything can you think of? Okay, see, tolerance will lead to reduction in casteism, communalism and all that. Fraternity also, equality related with gender equality, okay. What else? Transparency. So when you teach such values, they lead to a more democratic society. Okay. Now how will equality help? I just told you that you can have it in gender. It can also be related to class. How? See, in schools we have uniforms, right? Why are they named uniforms? Because they treat everyone uniformly. Okay, they tell you that no matter how rich you are or how poor you are, you will wear the same dress, you will look as each other. Okay, just because your parents are rich, you will not look differently or you will not be treated differently. Okay, so that is how, this is one of the best examples you can write for value education inculcated by a education institution. All right, okay, let's move forward. Now, promoting constitution morality. Okay, so constitution morality is basically morals that are defined in the constitution. Okay, and we have to implement that in our social life, in the society. Okay, now how does educational institutions or society help in development of constitutional morality? Basically, see, child is there, okay, that person will grow up into a citizen, an adult citizen of the country. So by this time the person should develop a constitutional morality so that they can what, they can improve the society. Okay, so basically how will the society accept these values? By value education. Okay, so constitutional morality is a set of values that needs to be imbibed in the society. All right, so how will that happen? By basically society itself teaches you. Okay, by basically let's say some leaders will teach, like Swachh Bharat Abhiyan we can take, cleanliness is next to godliness, Gandhiji said. One more thing is like education, schools will teach you how they can have special classes on it. Okay, there can be special let's say events where the student is taken outside the school, like there are a lot of cleanups that happen in Juhu beach and various beaches, right? So in Juhu beach there are many NGOs that participate, and volunteers are basically college students or senior school students. Okay, so constitutional morality. Okay, so basically now again, what values does come under this, or where can we see constitutional morality? One value can be rule of law, है ना? Then just remember preamble, liberty, equality, fraternity, and all that. Okay, then freedom of expression, right? Social justice. Okay, welfare, country. Okay, what else? In polity we read something like procedure established by law. Okay, then due process of law. Okay, such things are basically the values given by constitution. Okay, and this morality which comes from it is what? Belief that I have to follow this. You know na, morality is something which you believe in. Okay, it's your belief, it's your personal ethics, and if you follow constitutional ethics, or then becomes constitutional morality, and the values given by constitution is imbibed in the society. Okay, here what can you think of? Can you see the diagram? Reinforcement and punishment. Okay, so see, let's just take a basic example. Like in our school life, what we have seen, people who come late, okay, they are told to stand outside the gate. Okay, they have to wait for the assembly to get over, then only they can enter. All right, and their names are noted, and if you come late frequently, your parents are told, right? So such things are basically punishment, right? They are punishment part of the life. And reinforcement, what is reinforcement? That is basically rewards on what? Doing things right. So basically there are many competitions that are held, like in sports activities are there, people are rewarded for performing well. Okay, sometimes schools even have a discipline award. Okay, the most disciplined class, okay, which has the least complaint from teachers or other students, something like this. Okay, people who are on time, okay, they are allowed to attend the what? Assembly. All right, so such things are rewards, they are reinforcement. Okay, so they reinforce that yes, if you come on time, if you behave properly, if you have good values, you will be awarded. Okay, and you will be appreciated. So it is about developing a system of reward and punishment. But here is a keyword, okay, which is fair. That is, the people who are judging this should be fair towards the person, that if there is some legitimate reason behind, let's say a person got late for one day. If there is a legitimate reason, they have proper, let's say, documents of doctor, okay, then they should be allowed. Okay, such things. If they have a proper letter, signed letter from their parents, and the teacher can later confirm from the parent that have you written this letter? Yes. If they have written it, okay, fine. Right. So such things are there. So this is called fair. Fair system of reward and punishment, that they are rewarded for the right thing. Okay. So okay. So coming to this point, embracing diversity. Let's first understand these two words. Diversity, you understand different things, different people, different cultures, different food, different clothes, okay, different skin color. Embracing means simply accepting, okay, and allowing it to flourish, not just accepting it in its like independent way. You can even imbibe it. Okay, so education helps us understand diversity. What it does? Understand diversity, and that ultimately we are all part of same earth, same species. Okay, like the term global village. So like education tells us that there is a concept like global village. So people are interacting with each other, they are involving in globalization, people are traveling to other countries, cultures are intermixing. So another term which comes from this is multiculturalism. multiculturalism. Okay, multiculturalism. Okay, so people tend to accept those. Okay, but the reverse of this is, if the education and the values were not inculcated in the person, xenophobia, basically fear of the alien person or people from other places. Okay, we have seen this a lot in the recent times, wherein migrants or immigrants, okay, they are being shunted off, they are not accepted in the home country, there are many attacks on them. Okay, but if you see how Canada is very welcoming to immigrants, because they understand that diversity will lead to progress if guided in a certain way. So they have proper rules, they follow rules, they are very kind. Okay, so such things help, and this help is coming from educational institutions. Okay, so this is the role. So this is how you can include a lot of, let's say, examples from real life. These are all from real life. I am not teaching you something theoretical. I am teaching you things that we have observed and we observe in daily life. So in embracing diversity, you can write that education helps in understanding diversity and appreciate it more and see the positive side of it. Okay, so this is how you can frame this answer. Coming to this quote, the whole purpose of education is to turn mirrors into windows, said by Sidney J. Harris. This is something which is close to my heart, because education opens your mind. Okay, so if you look into a mirror, okay, actually it will change into a window. Okay, so don't think that mirror is a window. So mirrors, in what you do, you see yourself. Okay, right, but you will develop yourself. Okay, if you have knowledge, you will develop yourself. Okay, you are intelligent, but with education, what we told, that knowledge plus value. So if you have values, you will not just develop yourself, you will develop the world around you. Okay, you will fraternize. Okay, you will have a feeling of brotherhood. Okay, you would have a feeling of, let's say, helping each other out during troubles, right? So basically it opens your window. Okay, sorry, it opens it and gives you windows to the other people around you. Because see, people generally consider that once you get an education, you just need to earn a livelihood, you just need to earn money. But education is not just limited to this, it is much broader. Okay, it makes us aware about the other things that are going on in this world. Okay, so basically people who have good education, they are able to change the world also. If Rajaram Mohan Roy was not such a scholar, he would not have understood a lot of things, right? Like courage and determination needed to change things. If Mahatma Gandhi didn't read so much, he would not have understood how rights can be, or how rights can be protected, how some unlawful things can be protested against. Okay, but yeah, this is not a one day thing. A person needs to be taught a lot before they can really turn into people who help people around them. Okay, so basically it expands our worldview, it expands our boundaries, it helps us understand that we need to think out of the box and not just what is, let's say, mirror is in front of us, right? So it expands our viewpoint, basically it's that. Okay, so we should understand that it's not just we need to gain knowledge. Okay, we need to get educated, we need to become a good person, a good contributing part of our society. Okay, let's move forward. Now we have till now seen the positive effects of value mostly, right? We have tried to understand how value will make you a better person, but is it always there? No, we know that, right? There are a lot of crimes in the society. Okay, there are a lot of hate in the society. Why it is there? Because there is a value crisis. Crisis means the values are not being followed, values are not present in the people who are in leadership positions, like our corruption in politics. Okay, criminalization of politics. So value crisis is there in the Indian society, and how we can judge it at many levels. Like I told you, please try to study in a structured way. right? So that when you understand things in a structured way, you will be able to write things in a structured way. Okay, so here also we can have structures like what? We start with individual, then we go to social level, we can go to organization level, we can or institutional level. Okay, what else? In our culture also, and in our intelligence also, basically intellectual, like how people think. Okay, so this is how you can divide anything and learn in a structured way. So it will help you make notes in a structured way. So the way you make notes is the way you will write in the exam also. Okay, let's begin. So at individual level, we are seeing that I just explained it to you also, that people are focusing a lot on materialism, lot on material success rather than spiritual success. Okay, so basically people are focusing that yes, if I have this much cars, if I have this much flats, I have a flat in a defense colony in Delhi, we are successful. Okay, we are rich, we are posh. Okay, that is true also, but that is blind materialism sort of. Some people can buy it, but some people just make it the aim of their life. Okay, so what is happening? People are becoming consumers more than contributors. Okay, towards the society, they just want consume. So what happens? The company produces, and what happens? I've told you that many companies are not following environmental ethics, so that blind consumerism is leading to environmental degradation. You know this already, you have read it in GS3 and for environment in prelims. All right, so basically what is happening then? We are saying that good life is what? Materialistic life, right? As you know, the tagline of Kingfisher was king of good times. So what they focused on? They focused on what? Girls, drinks, है ना? So sensuous pleasure basically. Okay, so basically people are focusing on only sensual pleasure, not on spiritual pleasure. They are focusing more on their rights than duties. Okay, they want to just take. They just want to say to the policeman, oh, this is my right, you cannot charge me. But they don't follow their duties, they don't follow social rules, they don't follow traffic signals basically. Okay, so okay, one thing which is very related to this is you know about four purusharths, right? Dharma, arth, kam, moksha. This is basically duty, this is earning money. Calm is pleasure of any kind. Okay, then moksha is basically spiritual angle, right? Okay, basically being liberated. So people are focusing more on this rather than dharma and moksha. So people are focusing more on money. We want to earn, we want to spend. Okay, they are focusing on pleasure, and that too not the spiritual pleasure or something. They are focusing on sensuous pleasure. Okay, physical pleasure. So this is going on. This is the reason why so much consumerism is there, right? So this is how you can understand the negative effect at the individual level. How if you do not teach people how to have balance in life, okay, how to judge how much materialism is enough. Okay, so if you don't teach people these things, what will they turn into? Blind consumers, and that is what is happening. All right. All right, let's move to the next point. Okay, social life. If value crisis, how social life it will affect? So basically, if you don't have a social consciousness, what will happen? It will lead to reduction in social capital. We have understood the concept social capital. Basically, these are the interpersonal relations. Okay, so if there is no social consciousness means we are together, sort of this thing, the fraternity, the brotherhood feeling. Why? Example can be taken in many urban areas wherein people do not even know their neighbor. Okay, they are just going to work, they are coming back to their home, they are not meeting the neighbors, there are very less social functions. Okay, So such things lead to what? Lack of social consciousness. Because if somebody is hurt, let's say, or somebody is in need of something, they might not know, might not know. If your neighbor is going through some tough time, you might not know because you're not interacting. Also, if you need help of someone, then what? You will also not be able to, approach people. So what is lack of value of brotherhood, togetherness, fraternity, understanding leading to? Lack of social consciousness. It is leading to gaps in social connection. Okay. How does it lead to inequality? See, we have seen this Oxfam report, right? How much 1%ers own. Top 1% own the 80% or 90% of the income. Okay, that is slightly exaggerated. The actual fact is that the world's richest 1% own more than twice, okay, more than twice the wealth of rest of the 6.9 billion. Okay, this was a report just came in 2020 January. Okay, all right. So we have seen this, that when so many people are basically less economically wealthy, so it is not leading to justice of what kind? Distributive. So inequality shows that we don't have a value of justice in our mind, that people just want to collect and become rich. Okay, then we see that if there is no value of fidelity, that means honesty in the relationship, control over oneself. Okay, when what's these values will lead to? Adultery and infidelity. Okay, this will lead to what? Broken families. Okay, then it will affect the children. Okay, so and the another point is all these leads to failure of following constitution morality. So basically some people will follow, some people will not follow, but when in overall society they don't have the value of following the constitution, what will lead to? It will lead to degradation in society. It will lead to not following of the constitution, basically not following rule of law. Okay, because this is actually seen in manual scavenging. Article 17 basically it prohibits it, but still it is happening, right? There is so much discrimination going on. Although this article says that nobody will be discriminated against, still it goes on. Why Swachh Bharat Abhiyan is facing so much problems? Okay, although it is reducing slowly, but still that is the issue, right? That there is no collective commitment towards ideals of constitution and constitution morality. Here one more thing can be noted, that such inequality has increased a lot after post globalization era in international level and post LPG reforms in India. Okay, although poverty has decreased also in India, but I am talking about inequality here. Okay, all right. Coming to the next part, at cultural level, what happens if there are values, education is not there, value crisis is there? What is happening? You must have heard about Ganesh Visarjan, right? Durga Mata festival. What happens after their particular number of days? Visarjan happens. Okay, so during the days which are like 7, 1 day for Ganesh Chaturthi, 1.5, 3, 5, 7. Okay, Durga Mata, okay, Navratri and all that. So when these things are celebrated with such pomp and show, okay, with so much excitement, so much love for the god, okay, but in the end they are basically Visarjan is done in the water bodies. And you must have read about this also, that lot of environmental impact it is creating, negative environmental impact. Okay, so now people are trying that people should have eco friendly Ganesha. Okay, such movements are going on. People want to do Visarjan in not in a natural body, but in a normal artificially created water body, and then the clay can be used in basically repurposed into something else. Okay, so these are the things I have told you, how the crisis is happening and how some people are waking up to it and also taking steps towards it. Okay, another thing that can happen, let's say on Diwali, we burst a lot of crackers and that leads to pollution. Okay, but if you like Supreme Court banned the crackers, right? So what happened? People still bought it and still use them on the Diwali. Okay, so that is what Diwali is not actually crackers, right? The spirit of Diwali or spirit or the value of Diwali is that it is a festival of lights and not even the physical lights. It basically is like uh, have the light inside you, that have a positive light inside you and spread it to others also. Be like a candle. Okay, so if you see, many festivals have profound meaning behind them, but those are being ritualized. Like I've talked about consumerism, that is the thing happening over here also. That buy this mala, buy this color, okay, buy this murti, okay. So it is being ritualized. Okay, people will celebrate for a lot of time, then they'll become basically they will not follow the values that were told in the festival. Okay, like I just told you, Diwali is festival of lights. So it means basically be a candle to yourself. Okay, be a positive force in someone's life. So those things are not being followed. Okay, so basically we are losing the core values that are associated with the festivals. As simple as that. So that is how value crisis results in or affects the culture of a region. Okay, so please remember here I am not passing some judgment, I am just telling you how things are going on. Okay, I am not against any festival or people who are celebrating it, but I am just telling you about the value crisis. And crisis is something negative thing, right? So I have to tell the negative things that are going on. Okay, I am not saying every person is like this, but largely, generally things are moving towards this. And I think you will also agree, right? So at intellectual level, like what's how it is affecting our thinking power. What is happening? People are just learning, like I just told you, that people are learning and not basically becoming educated people. They just want to learn, they want to become intelligent. Values are not theirs, they are still corrupt and becoming more corrupt. They just want to amass wealth, like I've told you about insider trading. Okay, so what is happening? People are not learning values, they are just learning skills to earn more money. That's it. Okay, so what is this leading to? They want to just earn money. So what is happening? They want to earn it by any chance, okay, by anything. Okay, so that is leading to exploitation of other people, which is leading to inequality. Okay, so if we don't, okay, so this is the point. Next, if we come to, like, if we don't follow constitutional morality, then scientific temperament is not developed, right? Like even in constitution it says that we should develop scientific temperament, like in fundamental duties. If we don't follow that, we are not following the values of constitution. If we are not particular about things, we become what? We become blind followers. Like many TV channels say that uh, they are basically, cow is the only animal that breathes and exhales oxygen. Okay, so I'm not going to tell you this is right or wrong, I think you're intelligent enough. So this is the scientific temperament. Even the media houses are having, they don't follow values and they are just doing this to gain political points. Okay, so and the degree is now becoming just a stamp. Okay, they just want to gain the degree and get into the job. They are not focusing on developing basically ethical students who can go out into the society and focus on improving the society rather than just earning money blindly. Okay, so prestigious institutions, even the degree is becoming just a stamp. Okay, and the value which should be inculcated in a person is not being there. Okay, all right. Okay, so this brings to the end of this topic. Okay, so we have seen how the values are inculcated by various institutions. Okay, family, society and education institutions. Okay, now we will move on to the last topic of the day and unit 1, which is dimension of ethics. Okay, so basically this means there are ways in which we can understand ethics. Okay, like when ethics was being made, basically it's a part of philosophical theory of ethics. So we'll just see it briefly. We are not going to do a long discussion on it, but it is important that you need to know this. And why do you need to know this? Why it is important? Basically, first of all, let me define it for you. That it is a philosophical theory, okay, which wants to guide us in how to practice moral judgment. Okay, so basically, it's a philosophical theory, okay, that helps in guiding us in the practice of moral judgment, like what is right and wrong, and simple as that. It helps in guiding us, philosophical theory that helps in guiding us, and basically it helps in understanding also. It helps us in understanding about ethics also. Okay, how it helps? It tells us that there are many aspects of ethics. Okay, there are various facets of ethics. So if we understand the different dimensions, let's say, okay, dimension is a topic only, dimension, aspects, facets of ethics, it will help us understand ethics more. Why I have taken this in the last, although in the syllabus it is not the last topic, because now you have understood morals, ethics, values. So now you will understand the philosophical angle more, because if I taught you the philosophical angle a little bit earlier, it would have been very abstract. Okay, now you will be able to relate with it more. Okay, so basically it helps us in understanding basically the frameworks or moral standards by which we can basically understand how to resolve a moral issue. Okay, this is another thing. Okay, so basically it tells about application. So after reading this part, you will be able to understand that how it guides us, how we basically guiding us is how to apply this thing. Okay, so it tells about different aspects of ethics. It tells about basic different frameworks by which we can solve moral dilemmas. Okay, so basically it is about application. So if we read about dimension of ethics, we will be able to understand how things should be solved. Okay. Okay, so let's see the four parts. Oh, sorry. Let's see the four parts, which are meta ethics. Okay, which are normative ethics. Okay, descriptive ethics and applied ethics. Okay, let's take them one by one. So first, let us see meta ethics. Meta means something about something. Okay, like there is a term called metadata. So it is data about data. Okay, so meta ethics is about data about ethics basically. Okay, why ethics? Basically, I mean, ethics tells you what is right and wrong. So meta ethics asks what is right. Okay, it will ask you about if ethics are universal or not. Okay, ethics are relative or not. We have read about this, right? Then it will ask why be moral also. Okay, so this is the things that are questioned and answered in ethics, and this is mostly philosophical thing. Okay, this is not something very concrete, so you might be a little basically feeling a little abstract in it. Don't worry, we'll take some examples by which it will become clear. Okay, so meta ethics basically it deals with the issue of what is right, what is wrong, why be moral, and universalism versus relativism. So basically it deals with universal truth. Okay, issue of God, like if God wants us to be basically good or bad, so God wills. Okay, then why be moral? We have already discussed that. Okay, so basically meaning of ethical things, meaning of ethical, or let's say terms, because here what we are questioning, what is right, why be moral. Okay, so we are trying to understand ethics more. Okay, basically it's the philosophical thing behind ethics. Okay, another thing like metaphysical question, if we ask metaphysical question, Okay, does ethics belong to this world? Okay, or some other world? Basically, does it come from God or does it come from humans? Okay, so on this Aristotle said that they come from this world. Okay, they are humans creation. This was said by Aristotle. And they are not humans creation, they are universal, like 2 plus 2 equal to 4 was said by Plato. So this is a debate which I just want to tell you. Okay, this might not be asked in the exam, but you just need to understand it. Okay, you need to know, because as I told you why in the previous slide. Okay, okay, let's now take some examples. Like one of the best example is Yudhishthir. Okay, so he said, he was asked why be moral. So basically he said that societies have developed ethics. Okay, societies have developed ethics so that people can cooperate with each other. Okay, live in a rule based system. Otherwise what will happen? Life will be a mess. There will be chaos everywhere. Okay, so, and it will lead to basically war. Everybody will want what the other wants, है ना? So it will lead to war, and war is good for nobody. Another thing is like, I am good because I want to be. This is what I am. I cannot be anything else. Okay, so basically with dharma, or by following ethics or morals or your duties, the world will not fall into darkness. This is the point from this example. Okay, if we take an international example, like in Western society, here mostly why moral? Okay, religion aspect is different, but why be moral? Okay, why they say? Because this gives them reward, they avoid punishment because of it. Okay, this is good for the society, and this will also make you a good part of the society, otherwise you will be in jail. Here one thing you can quote is John Locke said that to live as a dignified person, or basically to live a dignified life, you need to be moral. Socrates said to have happiness, you need to be moral. Okay, you can also add from consequences of ethics, like what are the consequences if we follow ethics. Okay, so these are the meta ethics. Okay, so what it does, it helps us understand ethics. Okay, what are ethics, why be moral? Basically that is the question, that is why be moral is the main question that is dealt by meta ethics letter for our syllabus. Okay, otherwise it's a philosophical angle and we can go very deep in it. Okay, all right. Next we come to descriptive ethics. Okay, so sorry for the silence. Descriptive ethics, okay, as the name suggests, it describes things. Okay, this describes, basically it's a value free, I'll explain this to you. It's a value free approach to ethics. Okay, it observes the choices made by people. Okay, basically it gives an account of how the world is without saying it's good or bad. So that is value free approach. That is, it is not giving it a value that it's a wrong or a right thing, but it is just examining the world like how it is right now. So basically it is, when you observe the thing, what are you observing? You're observing people's behavior. Okay, so it is concerned with how people behave. Okay, so what do people think is right? That is the question. That is how you will see the behavior, right? Like how many think killing one people for 10,000 is right? This is a stupid question, but this is what describes ethics. Now how you will reply is the description. Okay, so basically it's a study, okay, of how people will behave or how people behave when dealing with moral issues. So it's a study of how people behave, okay, while dealing with moral arguments. That's it. So it is a value free approach, please remember that. Okay, it just describes how people behave, that's it, or how or what on what basis they will take a moral decision, that's it. Okay, please remember that. Alright, so basically it is concerned with what is there in the ethics. Okay, this is studied basically just for information in psychology, sociology, anthropology. What do these study? What is present in the world? Okay, so one thing I'd like to tell you before we finish the normative ethics, uh, please do not confuse descriptive and normative ethics. Okay, ethics as a branch of philosophy is more concerned with normative questions. We'll see that. Okay, so just wanted to tell you before we start that. Okay, so that you don't get confused. Okay, let's start with the normative ethics. Let's first see the definition. It's basically philosophical ethics, okay, wherein we actually search what is right or wrong or what should be. Okay, so if you want to remember this, you should remember what ought to be. Like ये होना चाहिए, this should happen in this way. Okay, so it's a search of norms, right? So basically it wants to create a standard of what should be. Okay, when we use a normative statement, it will be an expression of evaluation. Okay, like what is good or bad, if the action taken by you was good or bad. Okay, all right, now let's see some example of descriptive ethics. So basically when you write good or bad against something, okay, basically you want to judge what it takes to be a good person or what is a bad person. Coming to the examples, we can see there are like many examples like 10 commandments, okay, 5 principles of Buddhism, okay, 5 Jews of Jewish, okay, then there is a Jewish text, okay, this is Jewish text of ethics. Okay, now how will this translate into value? So 10 commandments by Bible, 5 commandments by Buddhism and 5 by Jainism, okay, Jewish text of ethics. So how will it translate in real life? Can you see, this is ethics, right? This is normative ethics. Now when you make a statement that this person is good or bad, how do you make it? You make it by a value, okay, if the person is following that value. So kindness, if the person is kind, good person, you define like that, right? Very kind person, very good person. If the person is not hurting anybody, okay, so that will also be included under normative. So basically we should there is a quotation, you can write it down. We should do to others what we want others to do to us. This is a Chinese proverb. So basically, do unto others. This is a Bible thing. Okay. Also, Kant also said this. Okay, in categorical imperative. Okay. Okay. So now we have understood this, that how normative ethics works or normative statements are what. Okay. We have seen descriptive ethics. We have seen meta ethics. Okay. Now normative ethics, there are different theories. Okay, how to categorize the moral conduct. Okay, so there are 3 main theories which we are going to see briefly. Okay, one is utilitarian, one is deontological, one is virtue. Utilitarian ethics, deontological ethics, virtue ethics. Okay, so first of all we shall define them briefly. It just wants greatest good for greatest number of people. So the maximum people should get the benefit. Okay, now how will you apply it? Basically you will when you are faced with a moral dilemma, you will see that maximum people should benefit. That's it. Like distributing medicine to people, what will you do? You will try to maximize the distribution as soon as possible, right? So that is how you implement this. Then deontological ethics, basically you follow your duty. Okay, this is based on duty principle, that you identify your duty and you act accordingly. Okay, so duty is the basis of morality. It is the foundation on which you can take the decision that it is your duty, you can do it. I have taken an example of a Hitler's what do you call that, a general who said that I was just following duty. Okay, so here they don't consider the consequence. Here they consider the consequence. Here they do not consider the consequence. Okay. In virtue ethics, focus is on developing a moral character, that the person should follow morals better. Okay, so you should cultivate virtues, okay, and you should become a person of good character. Okay, so basically if you want to judge a decision, you should say, should a person of a good virtue would have done what you have done? So if answer is yes, then you mark it as a good decision. Okay, so here focus is on consequences. It is also called teleological. This is deontological, basically focuses on duty, focuses on means. This focuses on ends. This focuses on the moral character of the person. Okay, so basically in this the third one, the right and the wrong, or basically right and the good, okay, that leads or that is decided if the person of a good moral character will do that. Okay, so basically character is developed, hence in this value education is most preferred. This leads to development of value education. Okay, so I hope you have understood that. Now we come to the last topic of this section, dimensions of ethics, and also the last topic of unit 1. Okay, applied ethics. This is quite important in UPSC also, because here we need to see that what should be done when things are applied in reality. Till now we were studying actions, okay, we were studying ethics, we were studying actions, but here we will see how things can be applied in real life. So okay, so it's a branch of ethics, okay, that applies ethical theory to practical life. Okay, so if you want to understand, okay, so if you want to understand it in a more depth, we can say that it is a field of ethics, okay, that deals with ethical questions specific to some profession. Okay, like medical ethics. I just told you, right, it's about practical things. So how in medical profession we can apply it, how in bioethics we can apply it, like gene editing, 3-parent baby, custom baby, how in business we can apply it, okay, how to behave with your employees, how to handle sexual harassment, how to handle environmental degradation or in negative effect of your basically business processes on environment, legal ethics. All right, so basically it okay, one example let's take. Okay, you might be able to understand, since we are studying for civil services or basic public policy. So if we apply this thing in public policy, what will we do? Can you think? Like, is abortion okay? Is it moral or immoral? Okay, what about euthanasia? There is a lot of debate going on, has been going on. Okay, what about affirmative action? Reservation, is it good or wrong? Okay, do animals have the same rights as humans? Okay, this is, I think you might have understood this by this example. So if we apply ethical things on real life, we get applied ethics, as simple as that. If we take another example, sorry for that. In society, if we apply these principles, what would we see, that if caste system is good or bad, Jallikattu is good or bad, okay, drug addiction is good or bad. If we apply this as an environment, what will we see? Why? Okay, can you think of anything? If we are getting a product, okay, but it is polluting the environment, is it good or bad? Something like this. Okay, and one thing I would like to tell you here, that in environment, it is deeply related with Indian culture, because we actually pray to trees. You know that, right? We pray to trees and various plants like tulsi. Okay, then I think it's a banyan tree, people ka ped. Okay, so these things are deeply related with Indian culture. Okay, all right, so that is all for this session. Okay, now we shall just quickly see what we have studied. Okay, so first of all, we saw how families can inculcate values, okay, by modeling, okay, by being a model themselves, by talking with them, by sharing personal experiences, by holding them accountable so that they don't keep doing the same mistake. Example of Duryodhan. By descriptive engagement, by telling them, okay, you are doing something right or wrong, by telling stories. Okay, now we have seen how family is changing, so that is leading to change in values, change in behaviors. Okay, how families are changing, these are some definitions. Then we saw what is the role of education. Okay, educational society, sorry, educational institutions and society. Okay, how value education is imparted. Okay, constitutional morality, how we can design a good reward and punishment system, right? It teaches us to embrace diversity, it opens up the world. Okay, then there is a crisis in Indian society of the value kind. We saw it, how it affects individuals, society, culture, right? How it affects our mind, our thinking power. Then we saw dimensions of ethics, which is the last topic. Why we are reading this? Because it's a theory which helps us in practicing of moral judgment. There are 4 types: meta ethics, normative ethics, descriptive ethics, applied ethics. In meta ethics, we actually talk about what is ethics, what is right, what is wrong, why be moral. Okay, descriptive ethics, in which we describe what is there, we don't attach value to it. Basically, it's a historical description of ethics. In normative ethics, we see basically what are the norms which we need to follow. Okay, what ought to be, what should people do. Then we saw the types, the different theories which will tell what should be done. Okay, then applied ethics, that we apply it in different fields. Okay, all right. In the next class, we are going to start the next unit. Okay, all right. Pardon me, this is from the previous topic. Okay, so for the next lecture, you have to attempt this question, that if a country is to be corruption free, oh, that is, if a country is to be corruption free and become a nation of beautiful minds, I strongly feel there are 3 key societal members who can make a difference. They are father, the mother, and the teacher. This was said by APJ Abdul Kalam, and it is of 150 words. It was asked in May 2017. So this is a highly relevant question for this topic. So please attempt it, okay, and we will discuss it completely the next time. Okay, so I hope you are writing these answers. So otherwise it is not going to help you. Okay, otherwise the lecture will be, you will just remember it, you will not be able to practice it, and practice will make progress, and when you write means it will actually help you. All right. Okay, so I know this lecture got a bit long because it was the last lecture and I had to finish all the topics in the unit 1, otherwise it would have dragged to the next lecture. So thank you a lot for your patience because I know this has been a long lecture. Thank you so much. I hope you learned something today and it was helpful for you. Okay, thank you again for your patience. All right, I'll try to keep the lectures short next time. Okay, so chaliye, we shall meet in the next lecture. If there is anything, please let us know on how to improve, how to deliver things to you better. All right, if there is anything you feel we can add, we'll add it. Okay, all right. Hello. Thank you so much. See you in the next lecture. Bye everyone. Take care.